Someone said good morning in the chat message. The name reads as unknown sender. You don't need attendance. Unknown sender. It takes a little more time to share the screen. Do you see the? Wait a second. Do you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
This is central limit theorem. I think one horizontal line is missing here. Central limit theorem. So this was from our yesterday class. For that, let me check 50 students are there. That's fine. So once you have a distribution, once you repeat that, or in other words, you have many distributions which are all same, and you are having n random variables. So each random variable, based on the chance, they will take different values. We take average of those values. We look at the new random variable capital X, which is actually equal to the average of those values. This new random variable capital X follows normal distribution, irrespective of the probability distribution of x1, x2, x3, xn. That may be any distribution. This x1, x2, x3, xn may follow, but all are following same distribution. Okay. In that case, we have this capital X follows normal distribution. We were looking at some examples. We started with recording attendance or appearing in examination. When only we consider 2 examinations, the right side, right bottom is giving you the picture of the probability distribution. When you increase the number of examinations, you are gradually expecting that you are gradually going to get Pascal's triangle, someone said, we will say a normal curve having a single peak symmetrical about the peak. And as another example, we considered throwing a die. Not only one die, many dice are thrown. If only one die is done, we shall have this kind of uniform distribution. This is also uniform distribution. Only we discussed uniform distribution in continuous case. I'm not sure whether it is in this class or another class, but anyhow, each value has equal probability. The probability is usually 1 upon the number of possible values. If you have 7 possible values for the capital random variable, then it will be 1 by 7. That's okay. Then only you will get sum of the probability is equal to 1. And after this experiment, we increase the number of dice. 2 dice are thrown, then 36 possibilities are there, which are listed there. And we have this kind of picture for the probability distribution. Suppose if I use many dice, then I shall be having this picture. Look at this picture. Maybe let me maximize that. This is it. Oh, sorry. Do you see that what happens? Instead of these red color dots, in this picture, a line is drawn like this. Why it goes? A line is drawn. I think critical line, of course. Okay, till that. Actually, here probability is this number, whatever is marked here. Corresponding to that, if you draw the picture, this is the probability. Okay. Now one die is thrown, two dice are thrown. We have seen already. This n die we have not yet seen. So just we increase the number, then we show that this curve becomes the normal curve. Look at the 10 dice case, the last one, how it is drawn. The number of values, number of possible values for capital X is in the x-axis. That may be more. Okay. If it is one die, we have only 6 possible values for capital X. If it is two dice, then we have, how many we have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 11 values are there for possible values. For here, 3 dice, 16 values. Okay. This doesn't matter. So once you increase the number of trials, any distribution, if you consider, and the average value of the resultant values is always becoming normal. That's what we mentioned here. Becomes. If n becomes large, or in other words, you should say that if n tends to infinity, then x becomes normal distribution with some mean. Okay, actually we have to consider this also. That we will do maybe while we discuss whether we have that. What is the mean and variance? Maybe we shall discuss about in this place. We shall discuss maybe in estimation. Now we shall look at two more results before proceeding to estimation. Do you understand this? Someone tell me. Do you follow this? Okay. The next result we would like to mention is Chebyshev inequality. Suppose if you know the mean and the variance for a random variable, then you can talk about the probability of a range. Suppose if x is a random variable, with the mean this number, variance this number. Okay. Then for any positive integer k, this number may be any number. Positive integer, it need not be integer, positive number. Okay. For any positive number, we have the probability for this difference greater than or equal to k times sigma. I am asking you the probability for this difference must be greater than or equal to k sigma is less than or equal to that 1 by k square. This is what we call as Chebyshev inequality. We shall consider a problem to apply this. Without looking at the proof, we shall apply this. Instead of this, you can write here less than or equal to symbol also you can write. Can somebody tell me what will be probability of this difference is less than k sigma? Can somebody tell me this probability? Can you complete this inequality? For this difference greater than k sigma, for that, actually here it should be more than or equal to 1 minus 1 by k square. Either you give me this conclusion or this conclusion, anything is fine. Both are representing the same meaning. This is called the Chebyshev inequality. This is usually we considered as variance x minus mu, but it was sometimes a negative one, so we went for x minus mu whole square. This is standard deviation. Roughly, this is relating standard deviation and variance. So look at a problem, then we may come back to this. And one more thing we need to discuss is a law of large numbers. There are various laws of large numbers. We shall look at Bernoulli version. Bernoulli has given this.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, we are not able to see your presentations.
Thank you for informing me.
It's
I
visible.
shall. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Shall I stop sharing and again shall I share? Wait a second. I am sharing it again.
No,
Now,
sir, it is showing that presentation, sir. We are not able to see any screen.
okay. Mm. Now, do you see the screen? I have written law of large numbers.
Now it's fine, sir. From first, we are not able to see any screen, sir.
From the
From
initial.
starting.
Oh, I see.
It was visible.
What about this picture? Have you seen this picture already or
No,
not?
sir, no, sir. From starting class onwards, we didn't ever. I mean, we didn't see any presentation.
Okay,
No,
okay.
sir, not for me too, sir.
Hmm.
Everyone have the same problem.
That's fine. Now everyone is having this. That's my question. Now, do you see the picture? Everyone.
Now I can, sir. Yes, sir.
Then it is great. So what initially we have discussed is that we started with revision, central limit theorem. We consider n random variables with the same distribution. The distribution may be any distribution. We consider capital X as the average value of the average value of the results obtained in the n random variables. That's a new random variable. When you consider large n, we are getting a probability distribution of a normal distribution. This we explained. Throwing one dice or two dice or three dice or 5 or 10 dice. You look at the picture, gradually it becomes normal. Look at the number of dice. Initially n equal to 1, after that 2, after that 3, after that 5, after that 10. Increase the number of dice and you are going to get the normal curve. Then we discussed Chebyshev inequality, which is relating standard deviation and a rough version of variance. If x is a random variable with the mean mu and variance sigma square, then you can take any positive number. This will be the relationship between the probability and that 1 by k square. The same is equivalent to the last line. Now I explain what is law of large number. You consider trials, say n trials, if you consider only success or failure as the outcome. Okay. Suppose if you define capital X equal to number of success, you see these are Bernoulli cases, okay, number of successes. And also success probability is this letter, then failure probability is 1 minus p. All these things we are aware already. And even in this case, I am counting the number of success. So this mean is n times p. Okay. And then variance is np 1 minus p. Binomial distribution. Okay. Now I am defining x by n. This is number of success, this is total number of trial. It is actually, this represents proportion of success. Out of these many trials, how many are in success? Okay. And further, this E of x by n is just p. Variance of x by n is usually 1 by n square variance of x. This is a formula we need to derive. That if you want, you can refer what is mean and variance of function of random variables. So far we considered only mean and variance of a random variable. Here I am suggesting you go for checking what is mean and variance of function of random variables. Here the function is 1 by n times x, some number times x, constant time multiplication of capital X. That's a new function. Variance of x by n is 1 by n square variance of x. In this way it is p into 1 minus p divided by n. The blue color things we know already. This green color I am defining now. Okay. The conclusion comes now. Then law of large number says if you look for the probability of the difference between this new variable and this success probability is less than epsilon, this probability, I have to tell you about what is epsilon. Then for any given positive number, we will have this probability is less than that positive number. this probability is 1 as n tends to infinity. This is it. What do we conclude? We conclude this x by n sequence of values converges in probability. To this number is this. Number is probability p. Wait a second. Have you seen convergence in sequences? Anybody studied that convergence in sequences? Whatever I have written here is the same in notation is written here. For example, I'll say that these two will become same, x by n and p is becoming same. That means it can be found out as less than any quantity. That means this quantity epsilon may be any positive quantity. However small you take, still we shall have these two are having distance less than that small quantity, meaning these must be having zero distance between them, meaning they must be equal. We are checking the probability for that probability is becoming 1. That means this is becoming a definite event, or in other words, if n is becoming large, then this is having probability p, or in other words, these two become same, this and this value. This is what we call as law of large numbers. If number of trials becomes large, then this proportion of successes is having probability p. Are they proportion of success and the success probability are becoming same? Do you understand this? We shall look at one problem. You may go through this, and if you don't understand, you can call me back. I shall also give you some, whether I have given some problem sheet to this class, some 10 or 15 problems, whether I have given already. Someone speak, yes or no? Gunasilan, Hridaya, Chaitanya.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Whether I have given any problem sheet to you people already? Yes or no? Or you don't know? It's not that much difficult question. Do you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. A die is thrown 600 times. Find the lower bound for the probability. Probability of getting 80 to 120 success. I am asking you find the lower bound for the probability of getting 80 times or 120 times. We want 6 in the die. What will be the whenever we say this lower bound or upper bound, we can relate this to the inequality, the Chebyshev inequality. Now what do we have? This is tossing a coin, tossing a die many times, throwing a die many times. So we can we can define. So here capital X. Let me define a number of successes. Once if I define that, then I will have a question: what is success? Success means getting a 6. Success is getting a 6. Okay. Then what should I write? What about the mean of this? It is n times p. Probability of success. Or in other words, we say success probability. Is out of 6 possibilities, 1 is favorable to us, 1 by 6. So n times p is 600 times 1 by 6, just 100. Variance of this is np 1 minus p. Then we have this 600 success probability, failure probability. 600 1 by 6, 5 by 6. So what do I have? 500 by 6. Now I would like to use Chebyshev inequality. Where it is? This one I need lower bound, meaning the probability must be greater. You look at this probability must be greater than or equal to this number. Then this is the lower bound. I shall copy this.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, your screen is not visible, sir. Can you please share again, sir?
Okay. I'll stop and share again. Our institute network is slow, I think. Wait a second. Wait a second. Now do you see the screen?
No, sir.
No. Then wait, let me connect with my mobile network. I shall disconnect and then I shall rejoin again. I think it may not be required. Simply I can choose a network change. Wait a second. That's the problem with our network. Than the mobile network, but today it is the other way. Now again, let me Yes. Now, I wanted in this problem, I wanted a die is thrown 600 times. I wanted to find the lower bound for the probability of getting 80 to 126s. Look at, I need a probability for a range 80 to 120. And also I need a lower bound. In this case, I would like to use Chebyshev inequality. Before that, I am listing out whatever I am having already. The green color things. I have things already. And then now using Chebyshev inequality, is this. Now I need to substitute all the numbers, but I don't know this k. Okay. Chebyshev inequality tells me that this is true for any k. Gives for any k positive, we get now let me write down whatever we have. So I want a probability for this x minus. No, just I'm writing the details available with me. K I don't know. Sigma is square root of 500 by 6. This is greater than or equal to 1 minus 1 upon k square. Or in other words, I will be writing this as suppose if I need probability of this, I am writing this 100 minus this number is less than x, less than 100 plus the same number. This interval, modulus of some number is less than some other number, that I utilize. This according to Chebyshev inequality, this is 1 minus 1 by k square. Now what do I need? I need 80 to 120. So if this is 80, if this is 80, or just if this is 20, that's enough for me. Look at this number. Suppose if this number is 20, I'll get 80 here. If this is 20, I'll get 120 here. For making this to be 20, we need, so let me say rough work. If k times root 500 divided by 6 is 20. What is k value? K is 120 divided by square root 500. Okay. So compute this value. 120 divided by, I think we can write directly because already you are in 120 divided by square root of 500. What is that number? This is our rough work. Okay. Or we can keep it as it is. So what we are going to do is, you can compute the number in terms of decimal expansion, or you can keep as it is. It's our choice. And we made a mistake. Anybody can identify what mistake we have done? Three people are there. We have done a mistake in computation. This square root is for both numbers, both numerator and denominator. Okay. What I have done is only I have taken for this the square root is for the entire thing. So here also I should write for the entire thing. Rough work. If k, this 500 divided by 6 is 20. This implies that k is 20 divided by this number. Based on that, I'll choose, let us choose k square root of 500, or in other words, let me say k equal to whatever I have just computed. K equal to 20 divided by square root of 500 divided by 6. Wait a second. We get this probability of this inequality is true for any k value. I'm choosing k value as 20 divided by square root of 500 divided by 6. The reason is that if I choose that, then this is equal to 20. So then I will be having 100 minus 20, or simply it is 80 less than x less than 120 is greater than or equal to 1 upon 1 minus 1 upon, instead of k square I shall be writing 200 square divided by this square I have to write 1 upon k square, just k square let me write down. It is 20 square divided by 500 into 6, or in other words this is 400, 2400 divided by 500. So 1 upon k square is minus this reversed one, 500 divided by 2400, or in other words it is 1900 divided by 2400. That number you can compute and complete the problem. Can somebody compute what is that value? Or simply 19 by 24, that's it. So the conclusion is that probability for 80 less than x less than 120, x is getting 6, we defined that already. We want the number of 6s must be from 80 to 120. For that, the lower bound for the probability is 9 divided by 24. That's it. Maybe some other problems I shall give you as problem. Yes. Tell me that. Yes. Mm. Uh, you are okay. Okay. You see this. Okay. You are right. But this is just assume. This is just estimation, or in other words, this is just an approximate idea. This need not be exactly correct. There may be instances where this can go wrong. Whatever I have given as a result finally. Are you understanding this? How should I say? This, at times, this can give you incorrect results. That's what you want to claim. Is that? Minimum bound is 0. You are right. Chebyshev inequality is one way of getting these bounds. At times, it can be wrong also. I'll give you one more problem where you can readily check the Chebyshev inequality gives wrong result. Wrong in the sense that less approximate result. If you say if you say 0 is the lower bound, usually we shall talk about what is the greatest lower bound. There may be many lower bounds, okay? Not only 0, but 0 is definitely a lower bound. Here, Chebyshev inequality gives not 0. Just is it possible to give one more lower bound or some best? What do you say? Not best. Some better lower bounds can be given using the Chebyshev inequality. But remember, this at times this may be, or you can find out that this is not enough accurate. You are saying no 79 sixes you will get. That also may happen. Are you understanding this? I'll give you one more problem where Chebyshev inequality is not giving the perfect result. It may give something like this 19 by 24 it may give, but you can check that event cannot happen. Are you understanding? Whatever you suggest, that will happen. But Chebyshev inequality gives one estimation for the lower bound. Are you following? This is just in the probability theory or in statistics. Suppose if you give me some other inequality that can get the result more perfectly or relatively better than this, that also is possible. But we are not sure to get the exact number, because in all our discussion we are trying to approximately find out without violating the theory to find out the probability number. One more problem just I'll mention. Okay, you can refer our book. This may be in our book also. Maybe one problem we shall write. Throw a die. And x is a value shown in the die. And Chebyshev inequality gives probability for this difference is greater than 2.5. The same problem you have to repeat, okay, is 0.47. I have given the result also, okay. Chebyshev inequality, if you apply for this result, you are getting 0.47. This bound you are having. This is actually upper bound. Here mu, you know that it is mean, and we shall check, but the probability for this is actually 0. Check whether this is happening. But if I say that it is less than 0.47, you can say that it can be 0.3, but it is not. The probability for this is actually 0, because you should talk about the mean. Just let me tell you the mean for this yes. Okay. So you are expecting, so in this case it is okay for us. It is giving upper bound, but this actual thing is not violating this. Here you expected some violation. So you are expecting that probability for getting 80 to 126s maybe less than 19 by 24. Is that your expectation? Okay, then I say that this is the lower bound for the probability. You claim that that can happen. Sometimes 0 probability can occur. That's what you are claiming. Okay. Suppose if you toss 600 times, only say 79 sixes you are getting, the probability is 0. Then we need to check the proof also, because we cannot say that it cannot happen at all. But even in this case also, we defined a statistical definition. One frequency based definition we have defined once. If you repeat the experiment gradually, say suppose if you are tossing the coin again and again, if you are recording the results, then gradually the probability for getting head will reach this 1 by 2. Suppose if you toss 10 times, whether we are telling any number for any number of trials must be large. Here it is 600 only. Maybe I shall explain this point after having look at the proof. Here I said minimum 19 by 24 is the probability for getting 80 to 126s. You are saying that there may be occurrences where we have less than 86s out of 600 throws. Then we shall explain this again. Then in this case, there is no problem with these two things. It says a probability is less than 0.47. You are getting 0. Instead of this, we have given both results. Check this. That's it. Regarding this, we shall discuss tomorrow. If n is very large, that's fine, but here we are restricting only to 600. Okay, is there any other doubt? We shall meet in another class. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.